I'd like to welcome everyone to London City Council meeting. Please stand, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silent reflection. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, could you please take the roll call?
Eads.
Here.
Peters.
Here.
Robinson.
Here.
Hayes.
Here.
Hitt.
Here.
Stahl.
Present.
Smith.
Here.
Okay. Good to see everyone this evening. And has everyone had a chance to take a look at our minutes from the last meeting? Any questions, corrections, or changes? All right. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes carry. Communications and announcements. We do not have any this evening. On to our audience concerns. We have first Anita Likens. And please state your name, address, and you have 5 minutes, please.
Thank you. Anita Likens, address 157 East 1st Street here in London. And first of all, I'd like to read something that Daniel Webster wrote. I am committed against everything which, in my judgment, may weaken, endanger, or destroy the Constitution, and especially against all extension of executive power. And I am committed against any attempt to rule the free people of this country by the power and the patronage of the government itself. Again, that was by Daniel Webster. I'm here to continue my public reading of the United States Constitution. I am completing, hopefully tonight, Article 1, which deals with the formation of Congress, including the House of Representatives and the Senate. Where I left last was Section 8, and so I'll continue there. Forgive me. Section 8. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. To borrow money on the credit of the United States, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states, and with the Indian tribes, to establish a uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States, to coin money, regulate the value thereof, and a foreign coin, and fix the standards of weights and measures, to provide for the punishment of counterfeiting the securities and current coin of the United States, to establish post offices and post roads, to promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors for the exclusive right of their respective writings and discoveries, to constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court, to define and punish piracies and felonies permitted on the high seas and against offenses against the law of nations, to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water, to raise and appeal for armies to support, but no appropriations of money to be for the use shall be for longer term than for 2 years, to provide and maintain a navy, to make rules for the government and regulation of the land and naval forces, to provide for calling forth the militia to execute the law of the Union and suppress insurrections and repel invasions, to provide for organizing army and disciplining the militia, and for governing such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States, reserving to the states, respectively, the appointment of the officers and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress, to exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district, not exceeding 10 miles square, as may by cession of particular states and the acceptance of Congress become the seat of government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislature over the state in which the same shall be, for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings, and to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers and all other powers vested by this Constitution of the government of the United States or in any department or officer thereof. Section 9, the final section. The migration or importation of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit shall not be prohibited by the Congress prior to the year 1808, but a tax or duty may be imposed on such importation, not exceeding $10 for each person. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion the public safety may require it. No bill of attainder ex post facto law shall be passed. No capitation or other direct tax shall be laid unless in proportion to the census or enumeration herein before directed to be taken. No tax or duty shall be laid on articles imported from any state. No preference shall be given by any regulation of commerce or revenue to the ports of one state over those of another, nor shall vessels bound to or from one state be obliged to enter, clear, or pay duties in another. No money shall be drawn from the treasury, but in the consequence of appropriations made by law, and a regular statement and account of the receipts and expenditures of all public money must be published from time to time. No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office for profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of the Congress, accept of any present, emollient, office, or title of any kind whatsoever from king, prince, or foreign state. No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder or post facto law or any law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. No state shall, without the consent of the Congress, lay any imposts or duties on imports or exports, except what may be absolutely necessary for executing its inspections laws. And the net produce of all duties and imposts laid by any state on imports or exports shall be for the use of the Treasury of the United States, and all laws shall be subject to the revision and control of the Congress. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty of tonnage, keep troops, or ships of war in time of peace, enter any agreement or compact with another state, or with a foreign power, or engage in war, unless actually invaded or in imminent danger, as will not admit a delay. Now we start with Article 2. Probably won't get very far at all. Good evening, all, and thank you for allowing me to this public reading of Article 1 of the Constitution.
Thank you. Next, we have Tommy Boyd. Please state your name, address, and you have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Tommy Boyd, 48 North Union Street. Just a simple one tonight. I know about a year ago, kind of started coming to these things, getting into it, and just seeing, hey, what it's about. One of the first things I did kind of bring up was the handicap accessible ramps. So I was just seeing if we had any of those installed this year, or kind of if there was any updates on those items. Would you have any idea, Pat?
Is that Bill?
Oh, Bill could probably answer it.
Or
And that's the other part is, I understand poor Bill. He's always having this stuff kind of put on him. And that's where I don't know if it's his choice, though, to go around and start picking these corners. And so that's where I was kind of directing this of, what have we decided or chosen to do that we are looking at. If we want to make a $15 million community center and we can't ride bikes to it, that's something I'd like to look into. However, also when I'm still seeing grandparents or parents pushing their kids down the sides of streets because they can't cross the sidewalks.
Well, I don't think that's the issue. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, anytime that sidewalks are put in, they have to be ADA accessible. So I'm trying to figure out.
Are we able to change the ones then that were put in before then? Go down Walnut Street and you'll see plenty of them.
So sidewalks are the responsibility of the property owner.
Yes.
So
We went over this, that the sidewalk corners are not.
Yeah, they are.
So
They
for us to
belong to
put a
property owners.
handicap accessible ramp, for us to make this town handicap accessible, that's up to the property owners? Because last time I was in here, we said it wasn't.
No, the property owners own the sidewalk. City can put them in for them, but the property owner
I get the
owns-
sidewalk, yes.
Owns the sidewalk.
If we go in and do repairs to street and disrupt those, at that time, they would be replaced with handicap accessibles. But we don't go in and just tear them out and replace them with handicap accessibles.
Just like the 56 project, we went through, we blocked all the 56 corridor up to ADA standards.
Okay. And so we,
If it's a project the city is doing, and there's state and federal funding, then you have to bring things up to ADA compliant.
Mhm.
But if it is not a project we are doing, if you want, like, say it's your corner, we're not doing a project, it would be your responsibility to bring that up to ADA compliant if that's what you do.
all right, because yeah, last time I was in here, I thought it was more of, well, the applications take a while. And that was our response that I had gotten. And so if, it's now, hey, up to the homeowners to actually fix that, that's a much different concern now. And I understand where we're at that, hey, it's gonna require a project on that street, but I think that it would require us, the government, to be fixing this for the people. Instead of waiting for the homeowners to be fixing these corners. Because, you go down Walnut, there's 3-4 inch corners that you're not able to get over. And so that's where, I understand that. What about the post office? That corner right there. There's no ramp on it. Is that post office's job then?
Yeah, so whoever owns the
All right.
property, that's their job to fix that.
Okay, so nothing else though in the works, not planning anything out? All good. All right, well, thank you very much then.
It's like the railroads. I had 3 people stop me today. We have nothing to do with the railroads. That's federal property. We can't touch it. Period.
Sidewalks are federal property.
I'm not
What we're
saying
getting at.
sidewalks, I'm saying railroads.
Okay, yeah, the railroads. Yep. Oh, I
think
know
it-
it'll be a fun one to.
Tommy, I think
talk
that's
to.
a great question, and so
I don't.
maybe we can look into something to see how many we've got. I'm sure it would be an astronomical cost to do all
yeah.
of them, but maybe we could try to do something. I think
Little
that's
by little,
a good
5,
thing.
6 a year maybe, and
Yeah.
hey, we'd get there. But the fact that we want to put in this community center, and I can't even ride a bike down there with my kid, makes it an interesting kind of back and forth there. So, thank you very much, though. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. On to our committee reports. We'll begin with Mr. Eads.
Well, we had the Service Committee meeting yesterday, which mostly focused on rec department. It was a long meeting. I don't know, can I release the information that came up, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Oh, okay,
executive.
okay. So it was disclosed by our current rec director that she's resigning as of June 4th. There was a long discussion with her about her perceived problems and things that need to be fixed to make the rec department better or to be better run or more help for her. And so it was a long conversation. It was a good conversation, quite honestly. And that was pretty much the entire crux of our meeting yesterday. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Peters?
Just let everybody know, finance meeting, Monday, March 9th at 4:30. March 7th, did I say 9th? I'm sorry, March 7th.
Okay. Mr. Ross?
So I'll just go off what Mr. Eads said.
Okay.
There is a couple of things. There was a reschedule for the volleyball on the February 19th when we had the issue with the building. Those games are rescheduled for March 6th. They have been looking at that building and seeing what they can do with it. With the pool, she started talking about the pool, talking about passes, if we need to do anything more, how we're gonna do it with punch cards, family passes, et cetera. Life-saving class, she's really talked about this one of being able to get the community, the London City to provide that, because if you go anywhere else, the lifeguards will have to pay upwards of $200 for the class. So if we pay for it, they can attend it it would be our cost. They can attend it for free. So I thought that was a really good deal. That'll start in early June, and you can start being a lifeguard as early as 15. On that, she's looking for staffing for the pool. The concrete work down there will start as soon as the weather starts warming up and cooperating. That's pretty much it, and we just want to thank Tammy also for her service, but June 4th, she's going to work with Bobby, is it Bobby Gordon? Billy. Why did I say Bobby? I knew her name. Of trying to teach her a lot of the ropes of opening and closing the pool, and hopefully we can hire someone to overlap before she quits, or resigns, sorry, not quits, resigns, so she can teach them as well. And she's still open to help out if we need to, so.
Okay.
Oh, also, April 6th is the next public service meeting at 1 p.m. in the conference room.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hayes?
Don't have anything. Safety meeting will be Tuesday, March the 8th, 5 p.m. in the conference room.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hitt?
I have nothing.
Nothing? All right. Mr.
I have
Stahl?
nothing.
Mr. Smith?
I'll start with sanitation. So they've received 2 applications for a driver position. They have a truck in Kentucky, which it may already be back by now. And then they are having new signs made for the transfer site to help clarify when you pull in, to know where to dump different things like that. Wastewater, I could not remember if I have mentioned, but the new superintendent, I think I may have mentioned him, but it's Richard Duncan. I'm excited to have him along. I think the BPU board did a really good job with looking and headhunting. He has a lot of experience. He goes all the way back to working in public utilities back in '05. And so he's held some different positions and done some great things there. No, I apologize. 86. Let me rephrase that. 86, sorry. And so I think he'll do a great job. Really glad to have him along. With freshwater, I talked to TJ today. The new bearing is in. It is at our plant. And so they are working on it right now, going as fast as they can. I would like to say, and thank the BPU board and, administration and everybody that's worked on that project. And Pat may have touched on this tonight, but, when we first realized that the bearing was out, they were first told that it was going to take 6 months to get a new bearing. And so I think they have absolutely just unequivocally done a phenomenal job working to get that bearing. I know it's been frustrating for everybody. My wife constantly reminds me we still have hard water every single day because she hates it.
Amen.
But TJ, they really did do a really good job. I'm tentative to say, but hopefully 2 weeks. They'll have it back up and running 2.5 weeks. But they've got to where they can see the old bearing. It's just absolutely destroyed. But they've done a great job. They are going to go ahead and fix a few things, and replace some things while they're in there. Just because, when you're moving around a 37-inch bearing, that's a very difficult task to do. And so, but they did do a good job of finding a bearing, working with a company in, I believe it was Kentucky or Cincinnati, getting that bearing to where it would fit our needs, because if we did have to wait, that's what it was. If we had to wait for one to be built, we were looking at 6 months. And mainly, I believe it was just some grease zerks that had to be inserted, but the bearing is already at our plant. They're already working on it. They're going as fast as they can to try to get it done as quickly as possible. And again, I know it's one of those things where you're frustrated and, you're not hearing every single thing that's going on, but every meeting, not just in the meetings, phone calls, everybody's worked very hard to get it done as quickly as possible. And so I am thankful that they did that. March 24th will be the next BPU meeting at 6:30.
All right, thank you. Thank everyone for your information. On to our city official reports.
Well, good evening. Thanks, everyone, for coming out. As Anthony just spoke about, I will touch on that a little bit too. So I do want to start off about talking about the contactor tank and the water treatment plant. So we know there's been many questions posed about the current water situation in the city of London, but we are in constant contact with the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, and the water is safe for consumption. Recently, issues with our solid contact clarifier, you could call it the water softening contactor tank, occurred. The water department immediately started looking into the diagnosis and repair. A large bearing in the drive that rotates the paddles to mix the softening agent with the water had failed. So this 37-inch bearing was the industry standard, but the standards have changed to a 33-inch bearing, and it complicated the process. There have been many residents reporting light brown water coming from their faucets, and this is occurring due to lack of softener in the water. The water softening step helps with the removal of iron. So we're taking steps to backwash the current filters more often to help with the issue. We are also out detecting any leaks that may be occurring, and once we repair the solid contact clarifier, the water softening contactor tank, this issue should be remedied. The 37-inch bearing to repair the water softening contactor tank has been delivered and is on site. They are currently installing the bearing and will be receiving the chain needed to complete the repair tomorrow. We hope the repair will be completed next week, and we will immediately begin to fill the tank and start softening the water. If everything goes to plan, we hope to start seeing improvements to the water at your home. You'll start seeing improvements by Sunday, March 13th. So it's a tight timeline that we're given, but if everything, we sat down and mapped it all out, and if everything goes to plan, we're hoping that people will start seeing that water soften up at their house around Sunday, March 13th. The county has begun debris clean out of the creek that runs between Park Avenue and Garfield behind Jacqueline Drive, and the city has been clearing the creek and removing trees at the Toland Street Bridge. They both have been able to clear a lot of material, which will help with the flow of water during heavy rains. This is another step we are taking to help with the flooding issues that occurred during very high rainfalls. Choice One Engineering is currently in town surveying the south end of the city. They will be getting information and checking all the grades to help us come up with a plan to also help with the flooding issues throughout the city. Once the report is back, we will be able to present it and start to look at a plan of action. The installation of our new traffic lights, the signal lights, will begin on Monday, March 7th. If you come to an intersection where the signals are being replaced and they're not operating yet, please treat the intersection as a four-way stop. And as always, be careful of driving near construction vehicles and crews working in the streets. All traffic signal lights within the city will be replaced, except for the intersections of Elm and Lafayette, Elm and Kinney, and Maple and Center, because those have already been upgraded to the LEDs. Now, the triangle at Lafayette and Elm, that computer will be upgraded. So there will be work done in that area too, but the lights themselves at those three intersections will not be, but every other light, signal light throughout the city will be upgraded to LEDs. The first of the 4 town hall meetings to discuss the levy will be held here at City Hall on Tuesday, March 8th at 6 p.m. And we're very excited to be able to present the facts to the citizens and let them see the vision. The other 3 town hall meetings will be held on March 22nd, April 12th, and April 26th, all at 6 p.m. here in City Hall. Now on to the MOLO Fun Fact, which is the number 15, and this was already touched on a little bit by Councilman Eads. That's a total number of years that Tammy Braskett has served as the City of London Director of Parks and Recreation. For those of you who do not know, Tammy was here in the 90s for almost 9 years, and she left and then came back, and she has been working here for about 6 more years. So that's where I came up with the 15. And Tammy has notified us that she will be leaving her position effective June 4th of 2022. So we'd like to thank Tammy for all she's been able to do since she came back 6 years ago. We've almost doubled the number of kids that participate in our youth sports. The pool has become very successful, especially with the addition of the splash pad, and Cowling Park is a destination point for many people. And it's just to name a few things that she's helped out with. So Tammy will be missed, but we will continue to build on what she has grown and look forward to the next chapter in that department. And very soon, we'll be getting out all the information to hire a new Parks and Rec director. So I appreciate you guys letting me speak, and thank you for this time. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Mr. Dorman, and you want to come to the mic so we can hear you over the recording, please? Thank you.
The town hall meetings, will they be Facebook Live so people who can't make it can actually listen in at least?
Yeah, everything will be recorded, just like a city council meeting. It won't be live, but it'll be recorded. We have it all set up of how we'll do it, so.
But will one town hall meeting be up on the website before the next one happens? Because
Yes.
sometimes with our council meetings, there's like a week gap in there.
Not totally a week, but maybe a weekend. That's because they're very lengthy meetings, and our system, for whatever reason, we
Kind of
worked on, parses it into two pieces, and the merging software takes up my computer all day long, and part of the evening to get
Okay.
it merged.
But it'll be just like a council meeting, we'll be able to see it.
Yes, sir.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Will that also be in a messenger, the dates of the town meetings?
Yeah, we send, every time I do an update or council has a meeting, they write an article, so I assume the messenger will put it into the newspaper.
All right.
Yeah, we won't run it as an ad per se, but I believe that they will put it in under the next article about city council.
All right. And Amy, can we be sure to post that on the site? That'll be posted on the city site?
Already is.
Yeah.
Already
it's-
is? Okay.
Yep, it's been up, I
So
believe
please-
it's on the website too,
Yes.
and it's on,
It might be on the community page, I think.
yeah, and it's
Okay.
been posted to Facebook already also.
Okay, good. So please get the word out, let everybody know that those town hall meetings are taking place, and there should be 4 of those scheduled. So if you can't make it there, please watch the recordings and maybe send your questions out to someone that can be there if you have questions.
And if anyone does have questions or concerns, I can be reached at pclosser@londonohio.gov or 740-852-3243. Our building is located at 20 South Walnut Street because we do not see all the Facebook posts and questions and comments. So if you'd like to reach us directly, that's the best way to communicate with City Hall, is to reach out to us directly.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
a question about your town hall. If someone watches the recording and they send you an email, will you address those emails
Yes.
at the next
So-
meeting?
So the way we're going to have it set up is we believe and we feel that people will ask their questions, and then after the question portion's over, they may have more, or when they go home, they'll have more, and we're going to tell them, email us, let us know, and then they will be brought up at the next meeting if you're unable to come back and ask the question yourselves. And any questions or concerns that you'd like to be presented, just as if someone, they sometimes email me, sometimes email you guys and say, hey, I can't make it to the meeting, but can you read this statement?
Right.
And we will do the common courtesy of doing that for our citizens.
All right.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. If you could come to the mic so we can hear you over the recording, please. Thank you. Or you could go ahead, ask the question, I'll repeat it for you.
Who all is going to be at the meeting?
Okay, she says, who all is going to be at the meeting?
I will be at the meeting.
Just you?
Well, no. I was about to say the rest of the people. I will be at the meeting. Rex Castle will be at the meeting. The the chief of police will be at the meeting, the fire chief will be at the meetings, Amy will be at the meetings, and council is more than welcome to come to the meetings, but those people will for sure be at every meeting.
They will be told on all of our concerns, even though they're not at the meeting.
If they don't come to the town hall, yes, they can get online and watch the video and see what everybody says, yes.
Okay, well, I'm already up, and I made a follow-up to, that other gentleman.
Okay, then you come to the mic, please, thank you. I was gonna save you some steps there, but, thank you.
He made the statement that a few months ago, he had a question about handicapped accessible, and he come to the meeting, and my understanding was, he said, you folks said, well, it's kind of your responsibility. Now, he's being told it's the homeowners. Okay, I just want him to understand, I know where he's coming from. Some of you up there will recognize me. I was here a few years ago, concerned about some city property that I would like to have cleaned up. And I was told it's their property, but no, they're not responsible, which is mind-boggling, to own something but not be responsible. But anyway, what the city council did to correct this situation, they vacated the alley. Gave it to the homeowners, who were not thrilled. And I guess I said, well, what'll happen? Well, if they don't upkeep it, they're going to get letters, they're going to get fined. 2 years later, maybe, the alley has not been touched. But you folks have no responsibility no more. And that's why this is all you see. You don't see a lot of people here. Because the majority of folks I talk to, they just laugh and say, what's the sense of going up there? They're going to do what they're going to do. They want a community center? They're going to get a community center. You can't fight City Hall. That's why there's not a lot of people up here with concerns. Because like me, I had a concern, I brought it up, well, it was passed from you to someone else. And they're not happy, because they're now paying taxes on this extra land. But I just wanted to say, I just come up to say this to take that guy's side and tell him, I know what he's feeling. You're not going to get any results. City will come up with some reason. But thank you for hearing me again.
Thank you. Mayor Kloster, you have something to
So
respond to?
I know you're talking about an alley, which
Yeah.
we explained that we do not maintain alleys. That is written into our,
But it's your property.
okay, so we do not maintain, well, the same as the right-of-way, we can use the right-of-way, but it is the homeowner's responsibility to maintain and keep clear their sidewalks. That's how it's written in.
Yeah.
And you say that nobody comes here because, nobody listens or whatever.
No, they don't.
And I take offense to that because I think that this is a good council and they do listen. And I think people don't come because people are happy with what we're doing. Well, you can laugh all you want, but look, you can go outside and walk around and see all the things that have been done
That's
by
fine.
this council and by this administration in the past 6 years,
You
which
can
blow
believe
things
that.
out of the water that's been.
Okay, I'll say one example. My daughter had a car sitting on Sherman Avenue,
Okay,
had a flat tire.
okay.
Snowstorm come, they put a notice on her windshield. If this is not moved, we're towing it.
How long was the car there with a flat tire?
I don't know.
Quite a long time?
Okay.
Okay.
So, right across the street from me, on Laurel, there's a car with a flat tire. Been there quite a while. There it sits.
Okay.
Did she get a ticket on her car when it was during snow removal?
I don't know, but it was covered. And the car behind her got the same one, and they towed both of them.
Okay, and so they were parked there during a snow
No,
emergency?
not
or-
because of snow emergency.
Okay,
And the one person that got their car towed, the gentleman had passed away.
okay, so do you know if the tags on the cars were current?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
current tags, insurance on it.
No, there's laws that you cannot have broke down vehicles. Vehicles cannot stay parked in the same
I
place.
know that.
Okay.
So why does one person get by with it?
I don't believe
And
that to
another-
be, I don't believe that to be true. But I wasn't there and I don't know.
Well, you go down Laurel right now, and there is, I forget what color the car is.
If you want to call me tomorrow and tell me the make and the model and I will send someone down there to look at it and see if it's parked illegally and if it needs to be
Well,
ticketed.
and so before that, there was a pickup truck. Same people own these vehicles that sat there, I know, over a month. And nobody says anything about that.
Yeah, if you can get them that information, they can take a look into it.
So in other words, the only way to get something like this fixed is for one of the neighbors to have issued a complaint.
That's not necessarily the only way you can get it done, but that can help.
It
Because it
helps.
could be happening and we not know that it's happening. And then we can give them that information. I had the same situation right next door to me. And they paid attention to it once I let them know what was going on, because when they do take a look into that, the inspector has certain guidelines that he has to stay within. When he goes and looks at these things, he can't just go do whatever he wants. But then if you do make a complaint, then that can help him to move further into a different area
Well, I'll
to
tell you,
be
I'm
able to take
certainly
care of
not going to
things.
make a complaint.
Because I had two of them next to me, next to my house, two of them that hadn't moved for years
Because
until I made a complaint myself.
These vehicles belong to the same people
Right.
that now own half the alley, who already are not happy with me. So there's no way.
And what's your name, ma'am?
Melody Earls.
Melody Earls, okay.
So, I mean, there's no way
Yeah.
I'm going to complain about anything else they're doing.
All right, great.
Well, I wouldn't have done it at a public meeting that's being videotaped.
Well,
Yeah, great.
Right.
Do you have,
No, I was gonna say the same thing. You've already made a complaint. This is a public meeting that people can watch.
Yeah.
But hopefully you don't have to make a complaint. Hopefully, the mayor and the safety service director are gonna give the police department a call and say, just go check these, because you don't know if the police department really pays attention to how long a car's parked there.
well, I don't know, but it's really weird. It's got a tag on it and a temporary tag.
Yeah, and
It's got two of them.
Yes.
that's one thing I want to bring up is, you say, well, we've got to call and complain about it. It's not calling and complaining, but we can't be everywhere at once, right? So especially like and this is going to be coming around real soon, is the mowing. And that is how we get people on the mowing list, is because unless our code enforcement agent's out and sees it, or one of us sees it, or a police officer sees it and we turn it in, it could be at a dead end that we don't drive down or don't see very often. But if a neighbor says, hey, this guy's grass is a foot tall, then we can get them on the list. Hey, this car's been, we've got to ask for your help.
I know, but I come up and I say, hey, city, your alley's got weeds this high. You didn't fix the problem. You give it to somebody else.
It wasn't, we didn't give it to anybody. They had it vacated. And then city council vacated the alley. But that's not ours to maintain. If we tried to maintain every alley within the city of London, our street department would have to be 20 people. Okay. I'm telling you, there are so many alleys in this, and quote-unquote alleys that are just marked as alleys but haven't been driven down in 30 years.
I have lived here for 70 years. I know how many alleys there are.
Yeah,
I know.
so you understand that if we had to maintain.
They used to pick up the garbage in the alleys. They didn't put the cans out front, they were in the alleys.
Okay,
That's why every couple houses you got an alley.
thank you.
all right, thank you. All right, on to our old business, ready for second reading. Ordinance 11322, a motion to read by title or number.
So moved. Second.
All right. Clerk, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance 11322, sponsored by Brian Robinson, an ordinance amending 1064 of the codified ordinances.
So, just like we talked last time, it's just to help put in place a process if your mailbox is damaged by a city worker, whether it be during plowing or doing street work, it does not cover, it'll be a uniformed mailbox that's provided. So if you have a decorative mailbox, we will not fix that one. We will put in one that we provide. It does not go into your landscaping, anything around there. Just basically saying, if you have a complaint within 24 hours, you have to formally let the city administration know. They will come out and they will fix it.
All right. Any questions there?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the 24 hours might be a little thin if your mailbox gets taken out Friday night at 10 o'clock by a truck. I mean, I'm hoping that there would be some extensions for that.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna hold you to the minute. I think as long as you can put it in a timely manner, we'll take it. But also, you also have to follow the guidelines of how far you are supposed to be from the street. You gotta make sure everything's in place, so. If anybody has any other questions, I'd like to suspend the 3 reading rule. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
Second.
Second, all right, first, second. Clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Eads,
No?
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Okay, and a motion to adopt.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Second.
All right, first and second. Clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads.
Yes.
Okay, 11322 has been adopted. On to ordinance 11422, a motion to read by title or number.
So moved. Second.
All right, clerk, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance 11422, sponsored by Josh Peters, and ordinance amending section 880.15 of the codified ordinances.
Okay, so that I don't mess up. Explain this, I'm gonna have Rex explain it again this week.
All right,
Article, or section 880.15 of the ordinances, codified ordinances of the city, basically lists how tax revenues are supposed to be handled. And the very first thing that's supposed to be addressed is the funding of the tax department. So any budgeted amount that the tax department has in there, that tax money is put in their fund first before any money goes to capital fund or the general fund. Those are the other 2 funds that gets funded by the tax, the 1% tax revenues. And the tax department, being good, stewards of their money, don't spend every bit of their budget. So every year, their fund continues to grow because they didn't spend all their money that they collected at the first of the year. It's grown such that their balance is in well excess of their budget for this year. So they really didn't need that money again this year. So what we're doing is adding this section in there that says if their fund is in excess of 120% of their current year budget, then that step is skipped. So we'll actually operate their department out of their fund, bring that balance down. Then the next year, then they'll start getting funded again. Based on the leftover funds, it looks as though that will probably happen about every 7 years, that they'll build up enough money that you can not take money first. What this is going to help do, it's going to help put an additional 10% of tax collections into the capital fund, because they don't get anything in January on tax collections, so we can help our capital fund, and then there'll be excess funds in the general fund that we can use for other things too. And this won't happen since January's already passed. Once you pass this, it won't happen until the 2023 budget year.
all right, thank you for that explanation. Any questions on that?
Yeah, just a clarification, Mr. Castle, because you and the folks sitting there have a better handle on this. If we're at 110%, we're still going to fully fund that. There will be we're not going to change the funding. It'll be fully funded for that year. then the next year is when that would come into play because it would be greater than the 120% probably. Okay.
Correct, correct. Because we want to make sure that there's at least 120% in their budget.
Okay.
Just for overages. But that just means the next year it wouldn't be funded. Or if it's a 119, no, we're not going to do it, but the next year.
Okay. All right, thank you.
If you wanted to entertain it, there was a Mr. Miller, I think?
Oh, was there a hand?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, if you could come to the microphone so we can hear you for the recording, please. Thanks, I didn't even see your hand.
I apologize. Just a quick question. How much money is this going to be? Just this first? Yeah, how much money are we looking at? What their budget is? 350,000-ish.
Their fund has 400.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, to reflect the money, but at the beginning of the year, they had 400 something. So we could have, if this would have been passed for this year, we would have skipped it this year.
Okay.
Because we didn't get it done in time for the next year.
All right, that's it. That was it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. So what are our wishes here? Gonna leave that on or pass it or leave it on? Because it's not a rush or anything, because we have already done the budget for this year, so. All right, on to resolution 11522, a motion to read by title or number.
So moved. Second.
All right, first and second. Clerk, please read the ordinance.
Resolution 11522, sponsored by Josh Peters, a resolution increasing appropriations.
Okay, if I remember right, insurance paid, this is insurance money that we got from the repairs that we paid for last year. Yeah, we paid this amount last year, this insurance money that we got, so we're just appropriating the increase.
Actually, we paid it this year. We received the check from Selective Insurance
In December.
Okay.
There was no time to spend it or appropriate it, so we just need to appropriate it this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and that was for vehicles for the police department? And that was $6,661.90.
Correct.
All right. So this money just comes right back to us now as a payment back. We had to pay it first, then it was refunded.
Yeah, we paid it. The insurance company sent us the money. It's now sitting in the general fund, but needs to be put back to where it came from,
Okay,
into his line.
all right. And we want to get this put back so they can use it right away?
Yeah, if there's no more questions, I'll make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
I'll second it.
Second, all right, first and second. Clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Hitt?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All right, first and second to adopt. Clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Hitt?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
All right, on to resolution 11622, a motion to read by title or number.
So moved. Second.
All right, first and second. Clerk, please take the roll call, or please read the resolution. Thank you.
Resolution 11622, sponsored by Josh Peters, a resolution increasing appropriations.
The fire department received $2,500 grant money from the Ohio Department of Public Safety. So we just got to appropriate the increase.
All right. Fire grant for $2,500. Any,
Is there any questions?
yeah, any questions or anything? Just
I'll
free
make a
grant
motion
money.
to suspend the 3 reading rule.
I'll second it.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call to suspend.
Stahl?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Hitt?
Yes.
Okay, and a
Move
motion
to adopt.
Second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Smith?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Hitt?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Okay, 11622 has been adopted. On to new business, resolution 12522, a motion to read by title or number.
So moved. Second.
All right, Clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 12522, sponsored by Anthony Smith, a resolution authorizing the Board of Public Utilities to remove a bearing with a cost in excess of the $25,000 limitation.
So, I mean, everybody, I think, is pretty aware of the situation. With the company, we just have two separate contracts, one for the installation, one for the removal and one for the installation. If you fully look at the legislation there, you see kind of what the estimated total cost, the $38,259.24. So, does anybody have any questions on that?
So that's 38,259 for each half of that.
Correct. There's two
Yes.
pieces of legislation.
Right.
And one was for removal of the bearing or the contact tank repair, and then one was for the purchase of the bearing. And the money's there. We have to pay these guys when they finish this up.
And I think the community would appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
and I would add that it's not, that they don't have the finances to fix the bearing. That was never the issue. I think someone kind of brought that up to me. It was nothing like that.
Yeah.
It was ready to go. They're able to fix it. We just literally had to get, a very rare bearing. So.
And like Anthony said, the money is there. It's just that they cannot spend more than $25,000. You guys understand that? The other departments can spend 50, but because they were kind of separate, you guys wanted to make sure you knew everything that was going on there. Theirs was lowered to 25,000, and both these are over the $25,000 threshold.
Right. And also, too, just to, put something hopefully in the future, because that bearing, from what I understand, was extremely hard to find. So I don't know if they have in the plans for the future to place that, or because if it happens again, I'm not sure if we'll be so lucky.
I know right now everybody's trying to, they're trying to figure out kind of what do we want to do in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so, do we want to put in another tank? Do we want to just, get another bearing, put it on a shelf? So I can tell you that those are definitely all the things that are being discussed with the BPU, what they're trying to figure out what to do. I have my personal feelings on it. And so, one thing I can tell you with the bearing, because I was kind of like, well, we found one, let's get two. Well, at the BPU meeting, I do want to get more information on it, but one of the board members stated that if the bearing sits on a shelf, it only has really about a 1-year shelf life. So I did not understand, necessarily why that is. Just being from automotive world, I've never seen that before, but, I've never dealt with a 37-inch bearing, so there could be something obviously different to that. So they're definitely looking into some things, so.
All right. Yes.
I also want to let you guys know that Rex and I and Steve Leilonic went out there today to see the progress, talk about the chain, that when they pulled this off, they decided they needed a chain. Amy was able to find one and get us one and get it FedExed here within 24 hours. It'll be here in the morning. Also, what they are doing while they have it open is we're wanting to be more proactive than reactive. So they're taking an itemized list of, hey, this small engine, this part, probably only has a year left on it or 2 years left on it. So, and we're going to get an itemized cost for all these different parts. And these parts we should be able to install ourselves. So we're going to get a list, how much they cost, what they feel that we need to replace, and start replacing those items, because those can be replaced within a 12-hour period, so we wouldn't be disrupting anyone's soft water. We just really couldn't do it on like a 100-degree day or when everybody's filling their pools. But besides that, we'd be able to get in there and fix these, and there would be no disruption. So we're trying to be more proactive than reactive than we were with the situation that just happened.
And I think too, it comes to, fiscally responsible. Yeah. I mean, obviously we could, we could put in a whole nother tank, then turn around, update the current tank that we've already got, that all the money we're spending for the bearing, but it's like, we can look at the parts, doing the best that we can. I mean, you have to look at TJ and go, that bearing's been in there for 20 years, lasted 20 years. How do you predict every single little thing of when it's going to break? And so, I think you guys know me, I don't like spending money. So I'm hoping they look at some other ways to kind of plan ahead. I know Pat, every single BPU meeting, I think he brings up to all three superintendents, please think ahead. What do you think is getting ready to break? And so, so those guys are doing the best that they can, but, I think that they're trying to be fiscally responsible, but, trying to ensure that we don't have the issue again. It can be a difficult decision to make, And I know it's frustrating, because like I said, my wife has reminded me every single day, we have hard water.
And that runs 24/7, correct?
Yes, it runs 24/7, 7 days a week.
365 days a year.
365 a year, yeah.
All right, Mr. Norman? You got one, okay.
Sometimes you're smart. I just have a question, and this is like one project. I'm just wondering why it's divided in two, installing and removal.
Yeah, just
Instead of
with the
being
company,
in
we have
one
2
project.
contracts.
So it's because they're just two contracts? Not, okay.
Yeah.
Because it was just kind of weird when I saw that.
Yeah, I know, when I saw it too, I was
I was
like,
like,
that's weird.
Why is it, because it's one
Yeah.
project for the city, but it's because of the contract we have
Yeah,
to do.
and it's not the most, simplest project. Like when I think of a bearing, even still yet, I know it's a large bearing, I'm still like, why can't we have that done in a day? But I have, yeah, there's a lot of work there that I don't understand, so.
Okay. Mr. Hitt?
Yeah, I just had a question. You said they discussed like a backup system. Was there any discussion about what kind of cost that would be? Or?
Please don't hold me to this number.
But just-
It was just a random number I heard. I have no idea how accurate it is and what all it entailed. But it's like $500,000.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And that's a backup system?
We're
in
talking
case it
about
goes down?
bringing in a whole nother
Oh,
tank.
wow.
Yeah.
And so having 2 tanks out there so we can shut one down for a while and get it all going and clean it and do all that stuff and then work off the other tank. But you're looking at least $500,000 for another tank.
Yeah.
So.
What, do you have any idea what type of dollars we're looking at to replace it and bring it up to date?
Well, that was talked about initially is, when Anthony and I heard, hey, this is gonna take 6 months, that's when I said, then replace the whole daggone thing and just take the whole unit. And I'm telling you, this unit is every bit of this big around and this tall is all the motors and the bearings and everything, and then it just keeps going down.
Yeah.
So that was gonna be, quite a bit to exchange it all out. And so, it's almost like a car, right? So at some point, it's like, do you just buy another one?
Right.
Or do you just
Keep fixing it.
keep fixing? Because, could we put an all new motors and a whole new thing in there? Yeah, but at some point, it's not cost effective and you
Right.
should just buy a new one.
Right.
So,
Yeah, but if you look at it in the sense of, we just put a bearing in, Lord willing, we've got 20 years, so we've got 20 years to save up, 20 years to prepare, for when we have to do something like that again. And I don't know that for any other reason that tank, that we've ever had that issue where the tank has been, not working. And so, I think that's a tough question. I think it's something we're all gonna have to look at and discuss of, do we wanna look at putting in another tank? For me, I know it has sucked having hard water, especially if you've never lived out in the country, you're really gonna hate it. But $500,000, that's a lot of money,
Yeah.
a lot of money, so.
All right. But we're, glad of all the work that they have done, so, we see light at the end of the tunnel. We're gonna have some clearer water here soon, so that's a plus.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I'll say, I am very pleased, with going to the BPU meetings, how TJ has been updating everybody, constant contact, and speeding up the process. I know it's, very unfortunate, it's been frustrating, but, originally, like I said, we were told we were looking at 6 months of dealing with that, and they did a phenomenal job hunting down a new bearing, getting that bearing to meet our specifications, getting it here, and getting people on it. So, But if no one has any further questions, like the mayor said, we do have to pay our bills. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule for 12522.
Second.
All right, second. And clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Yes.
Robinson, Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Smith, Stahl.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, and a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Okay, 12522 has been adopted. On to Resolution 12622, a motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 12622, sponsored by Anthony Smith, a resolution authorizing the Board of Public Utilities to install a new bearing with a cost in excess of the $25,000 limitation.
They take one out, we want them to put the new one in, so it's the same thing. So if no one has any questions, I'll make a motion that we suspend the 3 reading rule for 12622.
Second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Move to
And a
adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So
Second.
who's first?
Stahl, I think.
Stall's first, okay, and second is
Brian.
Brian.
Everybody else?
Clerk, please take the roll call for adoption. I think everybody wants this done.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt.
Yes.
All right. So everything has been approved to get our water cleared up. That's great. On to roundtable. I'll clap. I told them earlier, we have, at our daycare center, we give the kids like water, so we put it in a jug, but the jug's clear. But even once the water's gone, the jug is brown now, so we need to get that changed. All right, on to roundtable. We'll start with Mr. Eads.
So for many, many years, I've told people if they ask about London, how giving of a community we have, I think people step up in London, Ohio to help people out. The first meeting we had, I wanted to bring up a citizen of the month, and then we didn't have a second meeting. In my second meeting, I was going to bring up this young man that has a lot of people's hearts. But once again, the community stepped up. I know the mayor was at an event the other night, and who else was at that event the other night with the donkey basketball? And these folks stepped up to help out Sean Sobalski and his family for what he's going through with cancer. And it's one of the things I'm proud about in London, that we do step up and help others out. And we generally do it without asking why I should do that. We just do it. And I just want to thank everybody that went the other night and point that out. And I'm glad that they're trying to help the young man out. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Peters?
Again, finance meeting, Monday, March 7th, 4:30 PM.
All right. Mr. Robinson?
Just public services, April 6th at 1 p.m.
All right. Mr. Hayes?
Safety meeting, March 8th, 5 p.m., conference room. You all know what's going on overseas. When you hit the bed tonight, hit your knees, because we're right on the brink of, we could be right on the brink of nuclear war. So you need to pray tonight. I mean, pray earnestly. And pray for those people over there. They're gutsy, they're fighters, and they may die, but they're not going to give up their freedom. I applaud that. I'm 100%. And I ask God's blessing upon the city of London, all of its residents, and thank you very much for coming out tonight. We appreciate you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hitt?
Thanks for everyone that's coming out tonight, and I want to echo what Rich has just said and pray for Ukraine and all the people, that everything that's going on over there.
All right. Mr. Stahl?
Also thank everyone for coming out. I enjoy hearing different views, because you don't hear that all the time. I think you hear complaints, but you don't hear the reasons behind them.
So it's kind of nice to understand why people feel the way they do. And you talk about old parts wearing out. I just got a new pacemaker, never had one before, so I'm good for another 15 years, so I'm happy.
All right. Mr. Smith?
Like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Apologize, I missed the last meeting. I had a really bad virus that I would not wish on my worst enemy or a Michigan fan. It was pretty terrible. I do want to say thank you to the street department. I've already seen them patching potholes just from plowing and things like that. I thought that was great. We know that that's a big, that's an issue citizens like to see fixed, and so, and this is like from weeks ago that I saw them doing this. So I want to say thank you to them. Really hate to see Tammy go. What she's done, with the Rex department's just been phenomenal. So looking forward to the town hall meetings. Unfortunately, I'll miss the first one. Our church is in revival that day and time, but just to let everybody know, I will watch the videos and want to be involved in that. So that's it.
All right. I'd also like to thank everyone for being here this evening. And, right now our country and the world is in a really tough spot. I think that freedom is being challenged everywhere. That's here in the U.S., that's overseas in other countries too. So, if everyone could please, like Rich says, keep it in your thoughts, keep it in your prayers, that everyone that wants freedom can be free and that we can continue to be free here in the United States. So also too, please keep in mind these elections coming up. That's going to be a chance to be sure that we have people in office that are going to fight for our freedoms and that will fight to keep us free. So please pay attention to all the candidates that are running, all the issues that they stand for, so that we can be sure to have the top people in place to ensure our freedom in this country. All right, a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.